Welcome and good afternoon, everyone. I'm pleased to have much good news to report to you today. I know that's going to be very welcome at this time when higher education as a sector is generally facing so many challenges. Colleges and universities are struggling to provide programs and services in a cost-effective way while staying true to their missions. Students are finding it increasingly difficult financially to pursue their studies. And, of course, there is the tight job market. Despite these challenges, this is a tremendous time of opportunity for Teachers College because of who we are, what we do, and where we're going. In fact, as we approach the celebration of our 125th anniversary next year, it's our moment to reflect on our role as the world's best graduate school of education. I just want you to know the suggestion was that I say one of the world's best graduate schools, and I refuse to do that. And to reaffirm our goal to honor and advance TC's legacy for generations to come. Even our buildings tell the story of our unique legacy. Perhaps you noticed the recent restoration of the exterior doors to Russell Hall. To the rescue came two members of our facility staff, Mike Spratt and Rance Osborne. Are you here today by any chance? Well, what they did was to remove more than 30 coats of linseed oil and varnish that had been used over the years to clean the ornately carved doors. With just some denatured alcohol, they revealed something marvelous, a medallion bearing the TC shield and the words Teachers College. The shield sits near the top of an intricate vertical panel inlaid with a magnificent carving of a tree, perhaps the tree of life, an ancient symbol of the interconnection between knowledge and life. What a wonderful representation of the TC legacy as we move forward in the 21st century. We're rightly proud of TC's legacy, especially our history of firsts. There are so many to recount: the fields of educational psychology, urban education, gifted education, conflict resolution, arts education, nutrition education, international comparative education, and special education. And I challenge anyone to say all that faster. All started here. We were the first to expand the breadth of a school of education to include courses on nutrition, psychology, nursing, and other fields not traditionally associated with teacher preparation. The college's first dean, James Russell, envisioned, in his words, quote, training which would enable the student to see the relationships existing everywhere in the various fields of knowledge, even the unity of all knowledge, end quote. We saw this vision in action in our post-World War II expansion of programs beyond the traditional educational sphere and our leadership in urban education that continues today. And let's not forget that TC is the birthplace of the first scholarly textbook, the first yellow school bus, and of course, the happy birthday song. Our legacy of first continues to attract talented students from around the world. Last month, we welcomed more than 1,900 new students, which was an increase over the previous year. 19% of incoming students are international, representing 52 countries. That's a new high. And 38% of incoming students self-identify as students of color, also a high. As I told our new students at orientation, I'm counting on them to make their TC education meaningful. I urge them to be intellectual explorers on an adventure of seeking truth and creating new knowledge. And I reminded them that, along the way, they would teach their professors and mentors a thing or two. We're also attracting more financial support, a trend we'll build on in the years ahead. As the campaign that I first mentioned at last year's State of the College progresses, we are heartened by our recent fundraising progress, even though we're still in the quiet phase of this campaign. Our total raised for new commitments in FY12 was $48.2 million, an increase of nearly $22 million, or 83% over the previous year. Fundraising from individuals in FY12 reached $33.2 million, a $24 million increase over the previous year. To date, we've raised over $25 million in scholarship funding. Last year, in fiscal 2012, we brought in over $15 million for scholarships, more than doubling the $6.9 million from the prior year. and having raised over $2 million so far this year, which only began a few weeks ago, this fiscal year, as well as the academic year, we are well on our way to bringing in even more. Last week, I announced a gift about which I could not be more excited. $10 million from Lori Tisch and the Illumination Fund that she heads. Half of this gift comes to us with no strings attached to open a center on nutrition, education, and policy, and to seed the capital portion of our campaign. The nutrition, education, and policy idea is a wonderful collaboration between the nutrition program and the policy department. It represents the interdisciplinarity that Russell was talking about, and it focuses on understanding how policy about food and nutrition education interact and what we can do to improve both. We will celebrate that gift at a big event at the very beginning of the next semester. The other half of Lori's gift is an incredibly important challenge for funds to support our physical facilities renovation. Lori will match gifts made by other trustees who also give to the capital priorities outlined in the campaign plan. Other exciting gifts include a generous contribution from Marla Schaefer to support the ICCCR, Sue Ann Weinberg to support the program in history and education, and $1 million from the J.P. Morgan Chase Foundation in support of the partnership schools. In all, we've raised over $110 million so far to meeting our scholarship, faculty, and program support and capital fundraising needs for the campaign. On the research front, external funding increased by over 15% this past year. That's funding mostly from government and foundation sources. Thanks to the wonderful ideas of our faculty and the continuing efforts to strengthen administrative support for getting and managing grants. All of this support will enable us to continue our firsts and launch new transformative programs. A natural way of talking about all the new firsts is to group them around the three big ideas we've been pursuing. Shorthand, and you've heard all this before, but the shorthand is learning and applying learning research to instruction, comprehensive opportunity in the public schools in our own neighborhood, and policy. Understanding how students learn and applying those findings to instruction inside and outside of the classroom is central to so many initiatives across the college, from technology to teacher education. Technology can have a profound effect on how people learn, and can also tell us a great deal about learning and instruction. We're thinking hard about how these changes affect our students. We're also beginning the process of building a prototype classroom that integrates all of the newest technology that we know will help our faculty teach more effectively and our students learn best. Faculty and students can try this prototype, which will be in Horace Mann next semester, and help refine plans for providing smart technology to all our classrooms. We've recruited a visiting professor and Sachs lecturer, Ryan Baker, who can spark the field of learning analytics here. That field uses data captured by instructional software to understand more about learning and instruction. We've received a number of large grants that have the possibility of making a big difference in our understanding of learning, including part of a $5.65 million grant from the National Science Foundation for Joey Lee to create game-like educational approaches to climate change education, $2.5 million from NSF for Xiaodong Lin to look at the impact of two types of technology-based motivational instructional programs on students' performance in science, math, technology courses, 3 grants for Ellen Meyer, including one for NSF. Thank you, NSF, by the way, for all the above, to study her transformational ideas about technology and learning, and $500,000 for John Black, also from NSF, to develop mobile apps related to WNET's Emmy Award-winning show Cyber Chase, which will teach young children fractions on mobile devices. In this regard, an important goal for this academic year is the implementation of a strategic technology plan for TC. While at present, with over 60 online courses across our curriculum, we're one of the largest, if not the largest, purveyor of online instruction among schools of education affiliated with universities, We'll be working strategically in the year ahead to ensure that we're leveraging technology as much as possible across the academic and administrative areas of the college. To accelerate the use of technology in academic development, we'll create a coordinated support center to assist faculty in creating online instructional resources and courses. We've expanded our online offerings through executive cohort programming, through non-credit programs, and through the development of online courses that parallel existing traditional courses in the curriculum. A key goal for this academic year is to strengthen resources in support of teaching and marketing of digital courses. Tom James, Harvey Specter, and I look forward to talking with many of you in the year ahead to ensure the success of this plan. A critical ingredient in the work on learning is the application of new research to instruction and in preparing teachers to apply this new knowledge. One example is Herb Ginsberg's new online course for teacher educators that will be piloted this year, opening the door for expansion of such curricula across programs. This idea of application was also explored at a conference we hosted this summer together with the University of Michigan and the Dean of the School of Education, Deborah Ball, a leader in teacher education and the founder of a novel new program called TeachingWorks. The conference was on connecting advances in learning research and teaching practice, a conference about teacher education. With more than 500 registrants and some of the top thinkers in the field serving on panels, the conference brought together teacher educators, scholars, student teachers, policymakers, teachers to consider how to highlight new knowledge about learning and teacher education and how to make that knowledge relevant for practice. This is a question that is particularly important as stakeholders across the country consider the complementary roles for coursework and practical experience in the effective preparation of teachers. And we continue to spark new instructional programs and tools for K-12 that embody the best of what we know about teaching and learning. An example of new instructional programs here at the college, this fall we welcomed a new cohort of returning Peace Corps volunteers as Jaffe Math and Science Fellows, some of whom will participate in a new pilot program that will lead to dual certification in bilingual or special education and further enhance their prospects for teaching positions upon graduation. This is a theme we'd like to promote in teacher education programs more generally, building on our elementary and early childhood inclusive approaches and Project Query within early childhood education. Also this fall, Dr. Anand Mari has begun the recruiting process for enrolling a quarter of all New York City high school social studies teachers to participate in the Cowan Financial Literacy Project. This is a first-of-its-kind initiative that combines intensive professional development for social studies teachers with customized curricula and supporting materials that can be easily integrated into history and economics classes. The program promises to be a model of financial literacy effort replicated throughout New York and the rest of the country. Moving to the second big idea, our legacy took root and grew again last month with the opening of the Teachers College Community School in its permanent home on Morningside Avenue at West 126th Street. The opening marked the realization of a dream I've had since I became president of TC 6 years ago. We celebrated with distinguished guests, including President Bollinger, Chancellor of Regents and TC alum Merrill Tisch, New York City Schools Chancellor Dennis Walcott, and a number of elected officials, but the most enthusiastic audience were the 300 students, parents, and neighborhood residents, and members of the community who joined us all to cheer on our ambitious educational venture. The big idea here is a university-assisted public school that serves children in the surrounding area with the college as a deeply invested partner and a neighbor who would develop high-quality educational programs and share responsibility for students' educational success. The new school is also at the heart of a consortium of existing schools who are our partners that we are building in Harlem, a partnership we're building in Harlem. By 2015, we hope that the partnership will include 12 pre-K through 12 public schools, schools across the grade levels. And these partnerships will focus on comprehensive educational opportunities, excellent teaching and learning, which is the whole of the donut, family engagement, early childhood, expanded learning opportunities, and mental and physical health services. The school and the partnership schools are great examples of the power and potential of university-school partnership. As I said at the school's opening earlier this fall, at TCCS's opening, just imagine the improvement we would see in public education if every university worked in concert with local schools and communities. Certainly, all public schools can't replicate all the support that TC faculty, its students, and staff provide in TCCS, but all universities can learn from the value of working with local public schools in your community, sharing knowledge, learning from them, providing places for students to practice, and enhancing opportunities for everyone. Once again, TC is leading the way to show the nation what's possible through partnerships that offer students a rich and rigorous educational experience. The third idea is policy and governance, and all levels of the system, from local, national, and beyond. And our new department, the Educational Policy and Social Analysis Department, or EPSA, now serves as a central academic hub for the college's policy work across all phases of education and human development, from pre-K through adult, and it has fast become a place where other scholars, policymakers, and practitioners nationwide look for leadership. Early this semester, the department hosted some big names for a panel addressing the idea that policies governing life outside of classrooms, even outside of schools, can be important as curriculum and instruction in terms of defining educational outcomes. This is the same notion I mentioned a minute ago with respect to our work in community, the notion of the idea of a comprehensive educational opportunity. And it's important to recognize that that idea is our idea. I know Jeffrey Canada has done a great job with the idea, but our TC idea about comprehensive educational opportunity goes back to 1902, when TC opened the Spire School on 126th Street, which was open from 8 in the morning till 10 at night, and served families as well as children. Larry Kremen was a big proponent for education wherever it occurred. Ed Gordon was a champion of this, he called it supplemental educational opportunity, and now calling it comprehensive educational opportunity. We're walking the walk on the ground, but we're also engaged in thinking about the policy changes that would need to be needed to make this more applicable at scale in many different concepts. We have great opportunity through Michael Rebell's service on National Commission on Excellence and Equity and on Governor Cuomo's Reform Commission to present that idea, and a great idea to ensure that TC's legacy of upholding and expanding the view of educational opportunity lives on. Overall, TC remains a strong and robust institution. But we must remember we're not immune from the worrisome trends in higher education more generally that I mentioned earlier: rising tuitions, indebtedness, and spiraling costs. Colleges and universities report an inability to control the costs associated with running an institution. We have sometimes treated all these issues as if they did not include us. We've managed costs well, and tuition rises relatively in small amounts compared to peers. And our students seem to manage to find good employment options after graduation. The latest alumni survey shows that 91% of students responding were employed right out of graduation. Of course, one worries that the ones who aren't responding are also not employed, but at least that's what we know now. And we have informal, anecdotal knowledge that we have the highest placement rate for teachers in the state. So we also know that our students, or many of them, are in public service fields which are eligible for loan forgiveness. So maybe we're in better shape than the sector as a whole, but we should be taking advantage of all opportunities to improve how we operate all facets of the college. We need to assure that we're as effective as we can be and control costs as best as we can. So to that end, this will be a year when we focus on effectiveness. By effectiveness, I mean achieving and measuring outcomes that demonstrate that we're the best in the field. I envision our efforts to achieve effectiveness across the board at TC will be strategic and coordinated, and they will encompass everything we do. So that means the contribution of the campus community is very important in this work. As part of the journey, we need to ask some key questions. What are the many ways we can measure and judge program and college effectiveness? What are the outcomes we value? What metrics can we develop? And how can we understand what program features lead to those outcomes? How are our markets changing? And what are the implications for our programs? Where are our students finding jobs? And what are their career paths? I mean, one thing that's obvious is we have to get data beyond immediately graduating and follow people out into the field. To use a business speak term, what's the return on investment of a teacher's college education for a student who invests in it? Or in our language, do we prepare them well for a life in improving education and the world around them, for a career of leadership in improving education? And as we do search for and aspire to these outcomes, can we achieve them while controlling our costs? So these questions, and there's sure to be more, get us started on this path of exploration. I welcome your ideas, and I encourage you to think of ways we can achieve effectiveness in academic and administrative areas. We'll undertake preliminary efforts to gather information and input from constituencies across the campus in the months ahead. For example, Tom James will convene an academic working group to explore areas where data is needed to judge effectiveness across the academic landscape. An administrative working group will be convened by Harvey Specter to explore possibilities for improving effectiveness in the administration. To facilitate college-wide discussions, we'll convene focus groups of community members to gather more information about areas where effectiveness could be improved. We hope that faculty members with expertise in this area will contribute to discussions with staff, faculty, and students. In concert with these efforts, we'll of course be looking at what our peer institutions do and very consciously think about what are the benchmarks that we need to attend to. How we configure and use our physical space at TC is also critical to achieving any goals to increase effectiveness. As you all know, we're working hard to improve the physical plant of the college and to ensure that space is used most effectively for you all to do your work, the research, teaching, and practice that make up the heart of this institution. While we raise money to enhance our teaching and learning environments, and that has to do with the capital physical space challenge I spoke about before, we must begin planning now so we can most effectively target resources and garner support as we build for the future. It's important that everyone be involved in this process. Deputy Provost Allegrante has been having conversations with faculty, staff, and students and will continue to do so. I encourage you to speak with us at any point along the way. We want to hear your views, and we'll also be making one or more in-depth presentations about some of the planning work at town hall meetings, one of which I hope will be announced soon. We have a full agenda for this year. Achieving our ambitious goals will require your continued dedication to the college, your hard work, and your innovative ideas. Our 125th anniversary celebration next year presents us with a wonderful opportunity to tell the TC story, our rich history, our legacy of firsts, our positive impact, and in preparation for the celebration, I spent some time this summer re-immersing myself in the historical documents of TC. I reread James Russell's book on the founding of the college, Grace Dodge's diary of her first days in what preceded Teachers College and the immediate founding of it. And I'm in awe of the vision of our founders and the early leaders who created and nurtured a great institution dedicated to innovation and agile enough not only to adapt to the times, but to lead change and to set the standard for all other schools of education to come. Now is the time to reinvent ourselves once again, to build on our strengths, to embrace our distinctions, and to create an institution that honors the past while transforming the future. We must continue to create with confidence and optimism. One of our founders, Nicholas Murray Butler, wrote, quote, "Optimism is essential to achievement, and it is also the foundation of courage and true progress," end quote. Let us remember his wise words as we rededicate ourselves to advancing the TC legacy for the next 125 years. Thank you.